seats.
We do have excellent seats. So if you're at Oco that night, I'll be the one who probably gets kicked out.
You won't get kicked out. You're a baseball fan, which baseball fans are pretty respectful.
Yeah, I want to stay all. Huh? Awesome. I want to stay through all 9. That's just my. I have to.
Yeah, and I
have
do
to enjoy the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't get a chance to see your Sox play that often anymore.
I don't.
Live.
I don't. Not nearly as much as I used to.
Obviously.
So we're pretty excited about that, actually, to say the very, very least.
We were pretty much high-fiving
all the time
since we got the tickets, like virtual and otherwise.
Well, and it's the first time that we've gone together to a game.
Which is shocking.
Which is kind of shocking considering it's just all schedules. You travel a lot.
I do travel a lot.
So our schedules get all screwy. And
that's a technical term, folks. Screwy is, in fact, a technical term.
What's wrong with screwy?
Nothing. It's a technical term. It's an industry term.
It's an industry term? Oh, they say that all the time in the biz.
Screwy.
Oh, yeah, did you hit the Sackheads the other night? Yeah, it was going pretty good, but it was a screwy last 30 minutes. Yeah, totally screwy. I know exactly what you mean. All right, cool.
Yeah, but you got to be in the biz to really get it.
That's right. Sacco knows what screwy is, huh, Sacco? See?
I had an excellent suggestion from a listener.
What was that?
It came in perhaps via email. But the recommendation was that we play some kind of music, and because dead air, or just kind of like the deadness in the background, might be filled by some sort of music.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, interesting concept.
Dead air like this?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it.
Yeah. I hear it's horrible for radio. I hear dead air is just not good.
It's not. It's not. But that's why he was saying maybe a little bit of something in the background while we're talking.
The whole time we're talking?
No, just like segments like this.
Oh.
Like a segment music.
Hey, Sacco?
Perhaps some muzak.
For next week's show, can you have some muzak ready for the first General Jackassery segment?
Something appropriate. Something like us. Like clown music.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, rap.
Well, Ken would listen.
Absolutely. Do you have anything by the Supremes? No.
Do you even know who the Supremes are?
Oh,
Ken, I think you may have lost an ally.
How do you not know who the Supremes are?
Wait, why
Sacco?
is Ken in the chat room saying Cage Sacco now?
All of a sudden, he's turned his story
weird.
around. How do you not know who the Supremes are, Sacco?
He's just search it right now online,
dude.
With whatever search engine you prefer, as long as it's not Google because they're anti-gun.
Oh, man, that's just absolutely frustrating. You're a music guy. You make music.
I don't listen to it.
Oh, okay. Well, he's one of those, huh?
All original. If I listen to some of his stuff, I might steal it.
He listens. He might steal some stuff. You might. Okay, so he's basically saying he might pirate it if he heard it and it was really good.
And that's how Vanilla Ice was born.
Actually, that's not really how he was born.
Well, not born, but his music career.
Okay,
right.
No, career.
Sorry. You know what? I'm sorry. I should have been more clear in the future on that one.
Yeah, because I was going to paint pictures.
Oh, boy. Tax day.
Do graphics. We already covered that. It is tax day. And you know what's ironical?
As our friend Paul likes to say.
As our friend Paulie likes to say. The IRS chief, John Koskinen. That was good. What was that?
Can you turn it down, though?
He was in Capitol Hill, and he wants even more money.
Well, why shouldn't he get more money?
Exactly. That's kind of his point. Why shouldn't he get more money?
Am I making his argument for him
Right.
now?
No, completely. He thinks the IRS needs more money to do their job. And don't worry about other agency issues that they've had in the past. They just want more money.
Name one.
One
agency issue in the past.
Employees forgetting to pay taxes.
All right, that's good. That's one.
Targeting Tea Party
That's
members.
two.
Spending, $8,000 on a stair climber.
That's three.
Office furniture for
Four.
managers, like $4 million.
Four.
Market research. Market research. $4.3
Market
million.
research?
Yeah, they did market research.
How do you
$4.3
wait a
million.
minute? What is the IRS marketing? It's not like we have a choice.
I think that funds their goon squad. Right.
What are they selling? What's the ad marketing for? I don't understand.
What don't you understand? It's marketing research. It's the IRS.
Hi, folks. Alan Thicke here for the IRS. Do you hate yourself? Because we do. That's perfect for us, actually. That should just be our theme from now on.
No, it's for the IRS. It's perfect. They're a bunch of clowns. They're a bunch of clowns. That's perfect, Sacco.
Thank you, Sacco.
And I think that's what was playing in the background when
Well, he was
Koskinen
asking Congress for more money.
Yeah. Wait, play that again. And I'm going to play the part of John Costin.
Drop it just a wee bit.
Just drop it just a wee. That I like how the IRS came out, right? Hi, IRS Tax Chief John Costinen here.
Hi,
We're
John.
here asking you for more money at the IRS.
Well, with this music, how could we say no?
Exactly.
Here you go.
Don't pay attention to the stair climber we spent $8,000 on, or the $4.3 million for market research. We need more money to staff our call centers to crack down on the wait times of our customers. Did I say customers? I meant taxpayers.
It's not like... I love that they have an ad scheme.
Right. What do we need more money for? Oh, we need more free giveaways. Like bathtub toys.
Hey, we should probably start advertising to the people who go to jail if they don't pay their taxes.
Right.
So let's send out a nice frilly ad.
People are having a 30-minute or longer wait time. I don't think people mind waiting to pay their taxes.
Right.
That was a perfect music.
Soccer, you did well.
That was nice. Thank you.
You need to be on game like that more often.
I think I have
I
a
like
proposal.
I like that.
I have
Yeah.
a proposal. I think that should be the music whenever we have an IRS story.
Socko, that's our IRS theme. You got to be on top of it now.
Got to rename it.
He's just stuck his pinky at me. That was weird.
No, he was drinking his beer
So they have the audacity.
of hope. No, I'm sorry. That's something different.
They have dreams for my father of
They have the audacity to hope for more money.
right.
So I was right.
How is this even possible? Why? First of all, we all know the IRS is the biggest waste of money in the federal government. I think we can all. Does anyone disagree with that?
No.
Okay.
Well, EPA, Department of Education,
Ooh, neck and neck coming around the stretch. Good job.
right?
IRS is on the outside. IRS on the outside. Inside comes the EPA, running towards the finish line. No, right. I could see that. I can actually picture it now in my head.
Yeah, it's like a horse race.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
completely different.
Apparently we're taking a poll in the chat room. EPA is winning so far.
EPA is winning so far. Thank you.
Well, and we've talked about this a couple times. We could eliminate the IRS pretty quickly.
Very easily.
Flat
Rand
tax.
Paul has a great way to do it.
Flat tax.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or federal income, federal
Sales tax.
federal sales tax.
Yep.
Right, like we were talking about earlier.
Yep. That's one way. And then we wouldn't need the biggest bureaucracy. And I think the IRS is the biggest now in the federal government. Yes, they bring money in.
They're like the Goon Squad.
I'm on the Goon Squad. You are the Goon Squad. Princess Bride, great movie.
Great movie.
But they don't really generate money. You and I generate money for them. They just collect it. It's almost like, do you remember the mob in the 60s when they did protection schemes? Hear me out on this. They would go to your private business, and even though they don't do anything to add value, they don't do
Right.
anything
Other than not kill you.
other than not kill
Or put you in jail in
and
this
they
case.
would they collect what was called protection money, and that money would meant nothing is going to happen to your business if you pay us. So they'd weasel the owner out of like 20% of their profits, et cetera, for nothing. Where do you think they modeled that plan afterwards? The IRS. It has to be.
I don't know, but I think it could be.
It could very well be because
and more the collectors
right.
for the mob boss, which would be the federal government.
Right. It's very strange and sick and sad and pathetic. Argument, fair tax versus flat tax versus sales tax. I think flat tax and fair tax are close enough, in my opinion.
Flat tax. Because I think that's fair.
No. I mean, right.
Right? If somebody makes $1 million and they pay 10%.
And you make $500 and you pay 10%.
And obviously the 10% of $1 million is a lot more, so they still are paying more.
Always going to pay more. They're always, listen.
But it's a percentage, right? It's a same percentage.
Yeah.
Everybody pays
no matter what
10%.
And you know,
and
based on your salary
more
for the
than
year,
10%. If a church collects 10% because that's what the Bible is, then why should the government get more?
I'm okay with that.
Right?
I'm okay with that.
Unless the government thinks they deserve more than God, which this government might.
I was going to say this administration, I'm pretty sure thinks they deserve well more than God.
They do.
If not, they are right up there with him. If they even
they
believe.
Might even think that they are
right.
God.
Right. He doesn't have a boy named Jesus. Okay, good.
No.
I was just wondering if Obama had any boys named Jesus.
No. No.
Just curious. It's hard for me to remember. He said so many times if I had a kid, it would be like X, Y, and Z. I had to go through the list.
Maybe Jesus?
I don't know. I'm not judging him.
No, I'm not saying you are. Why
Okay.
are you getting all uppity?
Well, yeah, I don't like to be, I don't like it when you look at me that way.
Like what?
With judgment in your eyes.
It's not judgment, it's love.
Those
I love it when it makes you speechless.
Black,
you stopped and looked
doll
at me.
eyes that you have.
Right? I'm just giving you this doe-eyed look. I'm just amazed at your intellectual beauty.
I think it's absolutely amazing that the IRS could think for a minute. That
They don't. They don't think.
No, let me finish.
They don't think for 30 seconds, let alone a full
let me
minute.
finish, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
That's okay. I understand.
Okay.
That they believe that they deserve more money than they already get. When, like you said...
Yeah, because the reason customer service is lagging is because Congress cut the agency's budget. That's what Senator Claire McCaskill said.
Fire him anyhow. And I'm not saying that's every employee at the IRS, but it's a good majority of them. I know the IRS tried, 5-6 years ago, they started this whole new IRS campaign where we're the newer, nicer IRS. But
no, you're not. You're a bunch of douchebags.
At the end of the day...
You're a bunch of douchebags.
You're still the government. You still take my money.
Match up.
Okay.
Who's the bigger bunch of douchebags?
True, the vote and all the conservative groups.
So,
I'm not defending the FBI by any stretch of the imagination, but you put a choice on me.
I did.
I had to make it.
I'm going to go FBI, and here's why.
Okay.
I don't think that there is constitutional authority for any kind of federal police force.
U.S. Marshals.
Federal police force.
Oh, understood.
The Marshals are not a true police force, right? They have a very specific function, which I believe is constitutional.
Mm-hmm.
But the FBI, what's their jurisdiction?
Well, whatever they want. They're the FBI.
Right.
Haven't you ever seen Point Break?
Look, we have the SS,
I am
right?
an FBI agent.
Right. We have the SS, right? We have the Secret Service,
right?
Which has a duty,
right?
Treasury Department.
I
said
said
duty. I said duty.
Sorry.
We have the IRS, which, although none of us like them, and they are a big bunch of douchebags, they do have a purpose to collect a lawful constitutional tax because it did go through the proper amendment process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they do have a legitimate constitutional function. What's the FBI's?
Well,
Why can't the Secret Service or something else actually have the jurisdiction to investigate federal crimes? How many federal law enforcement agencies are there?
one for every single whatever agency you have, it has law enforcement.
That's ridiculous.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
And the FBI is a political tool of the Justice
Oh,
Department.
well, yes,
a lot
of
of
course.
times.
Of course.
Right? Oh, Ferguson. Yeah, you didn't find it. Well, now we're going to see if we can't get you on something.
Well, I want to know why the FBI and the DOJ are even attached. And hear me out. The DOJ's job is to prosecute federal crimes.
Right.
The federal, we don't even know what the FBI's job is, but it's all federal crimes. It doesn't matter what agency brings it forth; they prosecute it. Why aren't they completely independent from any law enforcement agency? Because now, you could argue that there's a level of favoritism. You could argue that there is absolutely some sort of shenaniganry going on between the two departments, whereas they should be completely separate. As a matter of fact, the DOJ should just be completely separate from all federal agencies in general. Answer to Congress only and the Supreme Court only.
I once heard that they were the only law enforcement agency not allowed in the Fraternal Order of Police bars. I don't know if that's true or not, but if that's true, that is hilarious.
It wouldn't shock me. Listen, I know a few law enforcement agents, and they'll tell you nobody likes the FBI. Not even them. Nobody does. It's kind of funny, actually. The best. They're the federal hall monitors, if that makes sense.
They are. Okay.
They just stand in the hall and yell at people for running or whatever.
Right. Okay. Terrorism.
Uh-huh.
They do terrorism. What's Homeland Security do?
Ooh, they do terrorism too.
Okay. Why doesn't there's military law enforcement, right, that can do international terrorism?
ATF?
Domestic terrorism, ATF, Marshals.
Right? Marshals, ATF,
Marshal
both
Service.
of those.
Counterintelligence. Don't we have a CIA?
NSA?
NSA, CIA.
Yeah.
Cybercrime.
Well, cybercrime usually involves money,
Right.
more often than not.
Okay.
So if it involves money, Treasury Department.
Treasury Department could do it. Or if it's if it's
NSA.
thank you. Weapons of mass destruction. Terrorism.
Right.
I would argue, right? That could public corruption. How's about whatever office it is, right? If it's
Wait a minute. Why can't local law enforcement deal with that?
well, hang on, public corruption. So if it's at a state level, then state authorities could handle that. If it's a federal level, you have D.C. police,
Yeah.
you have
Capitol
U.S.
Police.
Capitol Police,
Yeah.
you have Secret Service,
You have a lot of them that could
you have
deal
a
with
lot
it.
of them that could do it. Civil rights. Ooh,
Every law enforcement agency out there.
yeah, could do that.
Why couldn't that come directly from the U.S. District Attorney's Office?
Yeah, I don't know.
You assign investigators to them.
Organized crime.
Local law enforcement.
Yeah, local law. Or if you need bigger resources, then you still have Marshal Service, right? Other organizations. White collar crime.
I know. Local law enforcement again.
Right. Violent crime and major threats. Bank robbery, I would argue Treasury Department.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Art theft. This is specific on their website.
Art theft?
Art theft.
Well, why doesn't the Department of Art please take care of that?
I don't know. I don't know. Online predators, retail theft, vehicle theft. I'm pretty sure there's out there that do vehicle theft. I can think of one in California, California Highway Patrol. That's kind of what they do: speeding tickets and vehicle theft.
I think that's all they do.
That's all they do, and like crashes or something. I don't know. Do you think does the FBI really do vehicle theft? So that's my argument for the FBI being the bigger group of douchebags. Are you playing this? Are you playing? Is this segment going to be on your radio show?
Not this one now.
Okay, if this one's not going to be on there, then I would say the FBI, instead of being the bigger douchebags,
Quick.
is a bigger bag of dicks.
I don't know if I'll have time. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be close.
Okay.
I'll have to time it. Thanks.
Time it.
No, thanks for making that easier on me. I
You're
appreciate that. Because
You're
now I know
welcome.
the first 30 minutes are out.
Exactly. I asked before I threw it out there.
Oh, we're up against a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk 2016, Hillary, Rubio, the United Republican Front, and more. Somebody just said I'll have what Sean's drinking. Well, Clint already told you.
Again, what it is. Yeah, it's a Port Brewing board meeting brown ale with coffee and cocoa nibs.
Sackets Radio back in
I got
3.
a $10 bottle of
In a world
beer right here.
controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying coffee.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border to coordination, we got to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
And we're back here on the Sackheads Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us here live on the SHR Media Network. Oh, thank you.
We do need some kind of intro music coming back from a break, I think. I think our listener was right.
Okay. All right. I'm not arguing with you.
I know you're not.
So,
This is not an IRS phone.
yeah, no, that's the IRS now, Sacco.
Yeah, this is...
So you got to find another theme for coming back for break. I like the Jeffersons moving on up, but you choose whatever you want to choose. No, I don't think we're about to talk about the 2016 elections. I don't think Soviet music is really what's needed right now, unless Hillary gets in charge. So 2016 is right around the corner, and we had two people declare this week, both of which aren't a shock. You had Hillary Clinton, who through the most imperfect video on the face of the planet, where she literally did you see the announcement video?
Yeah.
If you want to talk about squeezing every demographic that you could possibly get in
Yes.
in a matter of 82 seconds, she absolutely did. And then I'm a champion for the people.
No, she's not.
When was the last time you did anything for anybody else but Hillary Clinton? Seriously. Anything other than whitewater deals. Hillary is the most self-centered, and then she jumps in the self-described Scooby-Doo wagon and goes traipsing across the country. She calls it a minivan. Before anyone saw the darn thing. She calls it a minivan. But then you get pictures of it, and it's like a sleeper conversion van.
Right.
It's not even close to a minivan. Like, how? Oh, yeah, you're so one of the people, Hillary. So one of the people. You haven't driven a car in 25 years. The Secret Service had to drive you. You couldn't even drive yourself. It's absolutely sad. And just...
But then she did order Chipotle.
She did order Chipotle. She walks in. She did better than Obama did. Because remember, Obama reached around the sneeze guard and got in trouble? You remember that? She did better than Obama. What is it with candidates and Chipotle?
I would have, if a health inspector would have cited him for that. How great would that have been?
Whoa, Mr. Obama. Come over here for a second. I need to talk to you, please. What did I do? Well, you see the sneeze guard? Yeah. That's for employees only. I'm going to have to issue a citation.
I'm the president.
Secret Service just stands back, be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President. I can't get in the way of law enforcement."
We might get arrested for interfering, Mr. President.
I'm not getting in the way.
And then the president tries to walk away.
No, sir. I'm telling you, you can't leave right now.
But pursued.
So anyhow, we flash forward to Hillary.
Wait a second. Oh, I want to play this out even more because this is hilarious to me. So the president turns and walks away, or starts to run.
No.
The cop has to chase him. Now, does the Secret Service go in chase of the cops that are chasing the president?
Like a bad skit,
right?
That's when you can play the music again. That would be perfect.
Because what happens? What happens if the cop catches the president to arrest him lawfully,
and then a marshal shows
interfering with the president, and then the cops arrest the Secret Service for interfering?
But then somebody says they're a conservative and they go to jail first. So it doesn't.
And then they get audited and taxed.
When Ken's alive in the chat room, when you read things like "White Lives Matter,"
is that because we talked about chasing Obama? So was Ken referring to his white half?
I don't know.
To the president's white half?
I don't know. I we'll see. We can clarify.
Yeah, I'd like clarification on that, Ken, please.
Let's get back to Hillary.
Sorry, Hillary.
There's
an H. I know it can look kind of like.
In some languages, it's pronounced in a K.
Hillary.
Yeah. Hillary. So she shows up at Chipotle. Can't take her sunglasses off. She's like Imelda Marcos.
Right.
All she was missing is the little poodle inside her bag while she was ordering. But then, have you seen any of her condescending speeches?
Which ones?
All of them.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, and you know what? I forget who she was. It could have been Carly Fiorina. Somebody said the other day, I would love it if Hillary could tell us one thing that she's done to help this country. Just one. One legitimate thing that she has done to actually help people in this country. Let's start when she was a senator, because First Lady's out. All she did when she was First Lady is beat Bill.
Right.
We're pretty sure. I can't confirm that.
Right.
That's allegedly.
Allegedly.
But then her time as a senator.
Not that it wasn't deserved.
But it doesn't matter. We weren't there.
We weren't there.
Right. Her time as a senator, she didn't really vote on much. She didn't really do much. She didn't bring any big bills to the floor.
Well,
Hillary
she
care.
brought Big Bill.
She put him on the
She
floor. She put him on the floor.
Right? Allegedly.
Okay, Secretary of State, we have the really awesome reset button. Ooh.
That worked out well
Benghazi.
for us. Aunt Benghazi.
Benghazi, yeah. She did try to pass Hillary Care as first lady. I said good things.
She did lose to Barack Obama.
Right.
That was bad for our country.
She deserves a Medal of Freedom for hitting Bill with a lamp.
Allegedly.
In the chat room. I didn't say that. It was,
That
in
was
the
in
chat
the
room.
chat room. Allegedly.
But what has she done?
Bill.
Other than trying to make us look bad. I don't know what she's done. I can't find an answer. What qualifies?
Lifestyle in a very public way, right?
I don't trust you on this. No part of me trusts what's going to come out of your mouth next.
No, she did a great job raising her daughter, perhaps. I mean, she's a mother. That is the toughest job in America, right? Unless you're a cheating person. And look at, okay, I have a perfect example for the great job she's done.
She hugged Kissinger.
I have a perfect example for the kind of parent she was.
What?
When the Secret Service agent came to pick up her daughter,
right,
and take her, and the daughter making your case for you.
So her hang out with Saul Alinsky? No, that doesn't do it either.
Cloward Piven?
Accuse people of a lot of things, bounce her fist on the desk and say, what difference does it make? Nothing. She has done nothing that qualifies for her or anything to be president. She's not done one successful act, law, bill, procedure, anything to qualify
She
to
was
be
an attorney,
president.
wasn't she an attorney?
Well, she got in trouble because she was working on the Nixon case.
Because she was being unethical in the Nixon investigation?
Yes. So that's not really... She authorized Kosovo, according to Jason. I'm pretty sure that was Bill. I mean, the argument can stand that everything that Bill did, Hillary told him to. You could have that argument, but we can't confirm all that.
Right.
So let's stick on the public record that we know. Other than driving, having the Secret Service drive her across country in a wagon, giving a couple speeches, blaming people for everything that she's done wrong, bad deals on Whitewater. Why would you vote for Hillary Clinton? Why would anybody?
Because she's got a D after her name.
Well,
you asked the question.
I know, and
I
that's
gave
the
the
problem.
response.
And she'll get votes. Unless she's in jail, she will get votes.
I bet she gets votes when she's in jail. If she's in jail. Because people vote. Look, how many times have people voted for a dead candidate?
Oh, it's true.
Right? They Hillary Clinton. Nailed it. Let's get on a happier topic. Marco Rubio announced.
Marco Rubio did announce. And you know what? He was met with a lot of positive reaction. I think it was that he could single-handedly take her down. And listen, Rubio's one of those guys.
I think any of these three candidates could take Hillary in a
I
in a
agree.
presidential. I really do.
I agree. And I don't like Rubio's stance on amnesty. That's my biggest difference with
Or
him.
his taxes.
Yeah, amnesty and taxes, yeah, I'm not okay with it. That doesn't mean Congress will ever put that bill in front of him for him to sign if he's president.
Right.
And that doesn't mean,
unless he has a Republican Congress.
right, but even then they may not put that specific bill, and it won't be the Gang of Eight. They may actually change it and modify it, and he'll still sign it. So
one thing I do like that I've seen.
It's
from,
tough.
One thing I like that I have seen from Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Cruz is this. They all are focusing on Hillary right now.
Yeah.
They're not beating the snot out of each other yet. And I hope they don't.
Well,
Reagan had that 11th commandment, right?
Yep.
Which is, hey, don't badmouth fellow Republicans.
Well, and one of the things that they've all done, and again, you want to talk about the classiest guy in the field right now might be Ted Cruz. Immediately upon Rubio and Rand, when they both declared, wrote a really, really nice long, essentially letter. Welcome to the party. What they bring to the floor, how much positive conversation will come as a result, how much better the running in general will be, the candidacy in general, and just really classed it out. But I think they're all like that. I think they're all on that same page.
I think so too, and this is why Clinton is either going to be a third Obama term.
Yep.
What was it in Rand Paul? I think it was Rand Paul's ad where he says that Hillary represents the worst of Washington, quoting the arrogance of power, corruption, and cover-up.
Oh yes,
which I think is
dead on.
Is perfect.
Yep, absolutely dead on.
So Ted Cruz says Hillary Clinton represents the failed policies of the past, obviously, which is good, and that Hillary administration will be no different than the Obama administration, essentially.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is what I like. And the Republicans, Rand Paul basically talked about Ted Cruz. He says, yes, Ted Cruz is a conservative, but he then goes on to question his winnability.
Right.
Which that's fair. That's fair. Ted Cruz has has gone on and says, hey, he's likes Paul and he's a fan of Rand Paul's. Although they disagree on foreign policy issues, they're not beating the snot out of each other
at all.
Which I think is huge, particularly if any of these candidates hope to win against Hillary. Because if they get too beat up and battered, and look, Hillary Clinton has more money than has ever been spent on any presidential campaign ever.
Yeah, she's loaded and waiting to go.
And so if you have to spend money defending yourself from fellow conservatives, from fellow Republicans, and then Hillary too, look, if Jeb Bush jumps in, all of you should gang up on Jeb Bush.
Yep, just end it right away.
End it right away.
Same thing with Chris Christie.
Yep. If they're not a true conservative, jump in and end it.
Yep.
And then treat each other with dignity and move on and so forth so that you're not beaten up. Because then Jeb Bush or Chris Christie, they're going to have to focus their attacks and spend their money three different directions, as it stands right now with these three.
Well, and part of the great part of this country that gets lost all the time is positive discourse.
It really does.
And I think the three of them would have a great
debate. I would love to see that debate.
Full of positive discourse. Hey, I agree with you. It doesn't mean he's a bad person, but
Right.
I disagree with you here, and here's why.
You would have great debate on taxes.
Yep.
You would have great debate on foreign policy.
Agreed.
And you would have
Jeb
great
Bush
debate,
is the Democratic hopeful.
and you would have that is a true statement. And you would have great debate on immigration because they do differ slightly in their views. And I think it would be a respectful, intellectual conversation.
I agree with you. I think if you throw Scott Walker in there, it elevates it only more.
You really are a big fan of Scott Walker.
I am a fan of Scott Walker's. I listen. We've done well when a good conservative.
It's not that I don't like him.
A good conservative governor becomes president, and we've done well with that in the past. And I like,
but not in a long time.
Well, maybe it's time for history to repeat itself a little bit. I'm not saying he's the next Reagan, but what I'm saying is
so the governor of California.
No, I was talking about specifically Walker.
Oh,
not Moonbeam. Though I heard, and I don't know if there's any truth to this. But I read a couple blogs that Moonbeam's contemplating. And I wonder if Hillary gets smacked down via Benghazi, if he's going to jump in to try to be that savior. And I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either, but I don't know that he has the national recognition.
What are you talking about? Everyone knows that voice. He sounds like Scrappy Doo, or no, he sounds like you know who he sounds like? Tom and Jerry, the dog Spike. He reminds me of Spike. That's my boy. Did you hear about the other Democratic nominee that's declared himself? By the way, he is not the nominee, but another Democrat has declared their run. Google, Bing, do a Yahoo search, whatever, for the words "Vermin Supreme" right now. I want to see your reaction about this. I did hear that Moonbeam, there's been some hints and allegations. I don't know if he'll run. I agree with you with this. I don't know if he has a national recognition. You do have O'Malley, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, the look on your face is saying everything that the search returned from Vermin Supreme. What have you learned in the brief 30 seconds about Vermin Supreme, Clint?
First of all, I love the picture.
I like this guy better than Hillary. I think he has a better chance than Hillary does.
That's because he's from Massachusetts.
That's not why I think so.
He's an anarchist.
He's still a Democrat. That's a Democrat.
That's a Democrat. This guy said if he's elected president, he's going to pass a law requiring everybody to brush their teeth.
But he's an anarchist, which is the best part. Is an anarchist
and a zombie apocalypse awareness plan.
Here's a little bit about Vermin Supreme, who's running, by the way, as a Democrat. Vermin Love Supreme is an American performance artist and activist who is known for running as an alternative candidate in various local, state, and national elections in the United States. Vermin is known for wearing a boot on his head as a hat and carrying a large toothbrush. He's from Rockport, Massachusetts. You know what? I hope this guy gets Democratic money. I hope he files all the right paperwork and gets money from the Democrats to run. Two Democrats in the race, and my money's on Vermin. Because honestly,
would make two vermin running on the Democratic platform.
Right? It'd be like the tale of two rats.
Just one is a name, and one is
in reality.
In reality,
Vermin Supreme. I love that. He reminds me of the "Rent is Too Damn High" guy from New York. I love this time of year for this part alone, as you get some amazing wackos that come out, and this guy has his own Google page. You could Google me and I don't pop up. He has his own Wikipedia page. Sacco, can you make me a Wikipedia page? No. He's not the best color man in the business for nothing, folks. But I digress. You're just reading about him now, aren't you? He's fascinating, isn't he?
No, he's ridiculous.
Ridiculously fascinating.
He's ridiculous. But, he would get California's electoral votes.
Well, that was what I was getting at. Can you imagine if he makes it and he splits California?
That would be great. California doesn't split. It's all or nothing state.
That's right. If he took California from Hillary, I love it. If you look at this guy, he's just amazing. He's got one picture here. I don't even know what he's doing, but his shirt is lifted. He's out of control.
Wow.
He's out of control. This is what happens when the 60s are allowed to hang around too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell me. I want to wear a rubber boot in my head like that, just to see the reaction. I just want to live a day in that guy's shoes. I want to know what got him to the point.
You want to wear a day in his shoes, like the boot he wears on his head?
Yes.
So you want to get inside his head?
I want to get inside his head a little bit.
Just to know what he's thinking.
Just to know.
How does that work?
Oh, man. This is just awesome. But back to Rubio. And really, even MSNBC and a lot of the left haven't gone after Rubio too much. And I don't know if they're afraid. I saw.
Well, right now they're too busy going after Rand Paul for being anti-woman because two female reporters were asking him ridiculous things, interrupting him, and he basically.
Well,
let me finish. He didn't say, "Hey, listen, toots." Right? Hey, Broad, listen, you don't know. He didn't say any of those things. I thought he was respectful. I watched the spots, but they're attacking him as anti-woman.
Yeah. And here's the funniest thing, and I may aggravate some women right now, and I apologize if
You've been doing it your whole life.
I know, but this time's kind of on purpose. For all the... If that was a male reporter, nobody would have said boo.
Right. Like, literally, nobody would have said boo.
At all. Or got mad at Rand Paul for attacking back like that.
Right. Unless it was a African-American reporter. Then he would have hated...
George Stephanopoulos. Let's
Right.
just keep George Snuffleupagus.
George Snuffleupagus.
I think that's what Jason Miller calls him, and I enjoy that. Nobody would have said anything to him about it. This would be a blip on the radar. However, because it was a female, now all of a sudden, here comes the war on women talk. And they got to trump this up because with Hillary running, they're going to try to save as much as they can for her. But it's funny to me, and I agree that I don't care, women can work almost every job the same as a guy. As long as they can physically do it, mentally do it, whatever.
Right. Don't have different standards.
I don't have different standards, but if they can do it, amen.
Absolutely.
Go for it. It doesn't bother me one bit. But don't get in the position and then get boo-boo faced when somebody treats you like the job that you want to do.
Right.
Don't get mad. That's part of being a reporter. When you're doing an interview with a presidential candidate, anybody, the potential for them to push back at your editorialization versus asking a direct question is there. And all the feminists on the left, the same ones that smashed a urinal the other day to stand up. Did you hear about that? Some feminist at a feminist rally went into the men's bathroom and destroyed the urinals.
Well, yeah, because they're angry that men can pee standing up.
Well,
That's a big deal, Sean.
You know how I'm getting even?
How?
I'm never lifting a toilet seat again. Hear my roar. That's it. Toilet seats, staying up. They're all staying up. I'm going to glue them up.
They're staying up?
Up. I meant never leave one down.
Okay.
I'm going to glue them all up, and that's how I'm going to fight back. But
why glue them? Just remove them.
Just remove them. No, I'm going to use them.
We're starting
too.
a campaign.
We're starting a campaign. Oh, no. Let's get away from this.
That's a great campaign.
Let's just walk away.
That is a brilliant idea. So take a picture and send it in to us.
But send it in to us. Preferably before you end up in the bowl.
Right.
But I don't understand why he is not allowed to clarify. And she was doing a gotcha interview, Samantha Guthrie.
She was trying to.
Totally was. Complete editorialization, not one direct question. Or she'd ask him a question and insert the answer that she wanted to insert versus the answer that was actually being given. Mm-hmm. And he pushed back, as he should have.
Yep.
And everybody on the left is already starting the anti-woman campaign. Did you hear about the news? I think it was out of Dallas. It was a local news station. A woman posted when Hillary announced on her personal Facebook page, and that you want to tell where this whole election's going to go. A woman posted, hey, I don't think a woman can be president because of X, Y, and Z. I just don't think it's right. Her personal opinion, personal Facebook page, she has that right. I don't agree. I think anyone who's competent could be a good president. I don't care who they are.
But she has the right to say
But she has the right to say
Absolutely.
it. The news did a 2-minute top of the hour story about it, reading all of her comments, all the comments back. But if you don't think that they're not going to start with this false war on women narrative, it's already starting over a nobody Facebook post. It wasn't like it's Rand Paul's Facebook post.
Right.
Where you're like, all right, this garners attention.
Right.
It's just an everyday woman who is like, I don't think women should be president. In 2 minutes at the top of the news hour, already starting the brainwashing. It already starts. And the last picture I saw after I was reading that, said with Obama, everyone called you a racist. Now everyone's going to call you a sexist. If you don't agree, you must be a sexist. Yeah. We're up against a break. We come back and catch up on the Iran deal. Congress gets involved in state response as well, and more here on the Sackheads Radio Show on the SHR Media Network. Back in 3.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border who says coordination, we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to The Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Oh, hey, we're back. Here's the best part. You know we're working hard behind the scenes when you hear stuff like that. It is the Sackheads Radio Show. Welcome back to the 9 o'clock hour here. Oh, so much has happened with the Iran deal in Congress. Earlier this week, the Senate essentially turned around. Obama said, hey, I'm going to cut this deal with Iran. And the Senate said, not so fast. We have to approve it. And they passed a resolution. And
well, if the Constitution required it, like it wouldn't be a big deal. They wouldn't have to pass a resolution or the committee wouldn't have to do anything. They would just know that they had the power to do it.
You would think. You would think in a perfect world, it should already be understood.
If I was, I wouldn't have passed anything. I'd be like, we don't have to pass a law because we already have the authority to do this.
Yes.
I don't need to pass something else to reaffirm something that I can already do.
But it's Washington.
I don't have to pass a law saying that I can say whatever the heck I want.
But it's Washington. We just pass bills to pass bills. You know that. Half of... Right. Why do you have to pass a bill saying that you have the right to speak freely? It's in the Constitution. Well, it's the First Amendment. Well, no, just because we just want to make sure. I think this was stupid. I think it was stupid, but in a way it had to have happened. The president has to be reminded because he doesn't know the Constitution, apparently, and he doesn't understand how our way of government works. Right, so highlight it, mail it to him, fold it in a little paper airplane, fly it to Joe Biden while he's in session, right? Let him catch it like he's chasing butterflies around
the chamber, little chasing little paper airplane.
I like paper airplane.
Constitution
Oh,
sections.
paper airplane.
And then, here, give this to the Prez.
Oh, I tripped over Reed. This is pure malarkey.
Tripped over Reed.
That's how Reed got hurt. It wasn't the exercise equipment. Joe trampled him accidentally.
I got that black eye. I tripped over Harry. Guess what poked his eye? Give
Harry.
it here.
Anywho, just
I could picture him saying that.
I could too.
I
Hey
know.
Harry, what happened? You get in a fight with a door again, or what? Exercise equipment. Yeah, you exercise. Whatever.
Right.
That whole thing has blown up. To sidestep for a second, the whole Harry Reid injury thing from New Year's Eve has blown up into something totally different. The Capitol Police. So, news agencies have been requesting the reports on that. Hey, Capitol Police, you took a report of him in an exercise accident at his home in Nevada. Can we have that? No. Well, why not? If it's just exercise equipment at his home in Nevada. No. Okay, well, we're going to start
TRA
filing. Yeah, and see what you resigned. Why did the chief resign? The chief just resigned. The Capitol Police chief just resigned. And then you find out that his brother, Larry, you can't make that up. He has a brother, Larry. It's like
Larry and Harry.
It's like Bizarro Superman.
Larry and Harry.
Larry and Harry. They should have their own movie.
It's like, you know what I picture? Hi, I'm Larry.
Hi, I'm Daryl.
It's my brother Harry.
So his brother Harry Reid, who apparently is Larry Reid, sorry.
Larry Reid.
Who's apparently a pretty bad dude. He's had some run-ins with the law and he's got a drinking problem. Was arrested later that night after he showed up to
An AA meeting.
an AA meeting. And apparently in Vegas on New Year's Eve, they have one every hour around the clock.
Okay.
He shows up to the AA meeting, covered in blood, half-wrapped, has bruises, didn't really want to discuss it. And they haven't confirmed that it was Larry specifically because there's anonymity and nobody knows who it is.
Right.
Leaves the meeting, allegedly, and he's arrested for DUI and fighting with law enforcement like an hour and a half later.
Okay.
And this is all after the incident allegedly happened. He has been arrested for assault and battery before. He's got a record, like he's a bad guy. And the Capitol Police won't release their reports. I've also heard allegations that there was some mob people in Vegas who had an axe to grind.
I don't know that I buy that one. I'm not saying it's not possible.
Yeah. Anything's possible in Vegas.
The brother one I find believable.
Right, but why wouldn't... If his brother's already tarnished and everyone knows his brother's kind of no good...
Because it's still kind of... It's trying to protect the family name.
No, I think they would arrest him. I think they would arrest him and just call it a day. Because it's eventually going to get out. Now...
It doesn't matter. He's not running for another term.
Yeah. That's kind of ironic, isn't it? All of a sudden, the man that never wanted to leave the Senate is all of a sudden up and retiring all of a sudden.
No, I'm a great family man.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm just saying this story has a lot to... There's a lot to look into this. It's very, very strange. It's very strange.
We're supposed to be on Iran right now.
I'm sorry. Well, we talked about the Senate, and then we went to Biden tripping over, catching butterflies.
We got catching
and then we
butterflies. I just picture Joe Biden catching butterflies. Like, I get better butterflies flying around. And they're chasing them.
Either that, or I just picture Obama giving a speech in the Rose Garden, and you see a butterfly waft by his face, and then Joe just comes barreling through, taking down the whole. The podium goes down. Sorry, Barry. Just gets up and keeps going.
High fives him first.
This one's a pretty one. So the Iranian deal is
And then he gets a pin board and he pins it to the board and just irritates everybody in PETA.
Yeah, oh yeah, drives him crazy. Takes a bite out of it.
He's Ozzy Osbourne. Bites the butterfly's head off.
No, he's just hungry. Just it was a special butterfly.
Butterfly wing hanging off his chin.
Ken says Joe Biden on a Cartoon Swim or an Adult Swim on Cartoon
Wouldn't that
Network.
be great? That's the vision. That's the vision I'm having right now.
The Joe Biden show?
Yes.
Patent pending.
The
Joe Biden
show.
cartoon,
Yes.
patent pending. Nobody touched that. Get me an artist.
You know what? I have another brilliant idea for an episode. He takes a Viagra instead of a vitamin. Hear me out on this.
No.
He's got meetings in the White House. He's knocking vases over. He's hitting people as he walks by.
That's every day, though. I'm talking about special stuff.
And we could have a disclaimer right in the beginning, right? Like, this may be based on actual events.
We can't confirm or deny
that this may be based on actual events from the White House files.
I so hope Joe runs. I hope Joe runs.
I hope Joe
I
listens
need
to the
this.
show.
I need this. I need Joe to run. Joe, you want to help an American?
Please.
You want to help
Business.
a small American business?
You want to help a small American business?
Do me a favor.
Run for
Go
president.
all in 2016.
Yeah, do us a favor.
I will.
This
You know
isn't
what?
just about you.
I
Why does
will.
this always turn out into you? This is about us.
Well,
We're in this together, meaning
I mean
Sacco, too, even though
collectively.
he's in the cage. He's in here too.
I mean collectively.
Oh, so you're a collectivist.
Joe will fly you out. You can sit in studio.
Yeah.
We'll let you have your time. We'll talk to you. We'll treat you like a good candidate, but please.
We would. We actually would.
Please.
Run.
Please run.
And please come on our show.
My retirement.
He would be so fun.
My
just to sit
RV. My
here and
future
talk
RV.
with, right?
All of that depends on Joe.
Would that be great?
The best part is we could tell him this was not at all political. Oh, what are you guys talking about? Sporting equipment.
Beer and guns.
Right. Oh, great, I'm in. And just sit down and be like, so, Joe, what do you think of... Oh, mosquito! Okay. Sorry, Joe. Must have flew through the door. You know?
Booze and broads.
Hey, Joe, welcome to the show. It's Booze and Broads. It's Sean and Clint. Quick question. It's the best show that's ever been on television. Don't tell Hillary. She hates this stuff. By the way, I brought Bill with me because he heard about the name of the show and he wanted in as well. Is this the Booze and Broad show? I brought my own broads. You guys got some booze?
Is it wrong that I would love to drink with those guys?
It would be a blast.
It would, right?
Well, you put politics aside in that situation.
Oh, yeah. No, we would.
Because I really think that those two guys know
Biden's
how to
not
party.
getting the nomination, right? So
No.
we really don't have to talk issues with him.
Right. Bill doesn't matter. Everyone knows who Bill is. You know, it would just be... I think those two... You could do such a great show with those two.
Clinton would be like, so when's the BJ segment?
Right.
I got some things to add.
Have you seen Hillary's new campaign slogan? If that thing arched up a little bit, be done after me. It's just, oh man, it just writes itself. How is this not a cartoon? How has this not been done yet? Especially Biden. Like, I get the Hillary, the Bill joke kind of went out in the 90s, and they're coming back now because Hillary's around. I get that.
Right.
But Joe is such current fodder. And you could really put him in so many amazing situations. Like everyday situations, too. Just like Joe goes to the DMV. That's an hour show right there.
Easy.
You know, he's just, you know, they have like the table with all the forms you have to fill out. It's just like forms are flying all over the place, and like there's a pen sticking out of a guy's head. And what's going on here? Vice President's in renewing his driver's license. And then you get to the driving test and the vision test, and there's a couple females in there. his driver's license picture is him nuzzling a female that was randomly in line. Like, that's his new DL picture. All this wonderful stuff. Why does it take a simpleton like us to come up with such a brilliant show?
Because we have a simple sense of humor.
We do.
Right?
We do.
And it's a crude sense of humor. It's a very basic, innate, male
it is.
sense of
I won't
humor.
argue.
And potty humor.
It's totally potty humor. During the debates, you see Joe walk on stage, walk by Hillary, and she does the goose jump. Yeah, good luck out there, kid.
Been working out. Feels a little firmer than it did.
Go get him, dude.
Hey, bro, let me ask you something. Hey, Mr. Vice President, that's
Mrs.
Hillary
Clinton.
Oh, sorry.
I thought it was just the roadie. I thought it was the guy setting up the stage. I was going to ask him where the beer was in this place, and I got to take a whiz.
Nice helmet hair. Hey, Toots, you want to come hold something for me?
Yeah, Mr. Vice President, the debate started 18 minutes ago. Oh, is it my turn or hers?
The answer's 12.
Next, I got this. What is foreign? You don't have to say what is, sir. This isn't Jeopardy. Oh, I'll spin, Alex.
These questions are tough. Can we just play Rock'em Sock'em Robots or something? Does anybody have a Rock'em Sock'em set? Anybody?
Hey, and you ladies want to play Twister? No, I always keep I got a board here in my jacket. I always keep one just in case.
And baby oil. How'd that get there?
Whoa. Well, you know what they say. When in Rome. I don't know what the rest of that means, but they say that.
We're not in Rome.
We're not in Rome. You know what they say? When in Des Moines.
What was that?
That's Joe's laugh.
Like a Joe Elmer Fudd laugh. I don't know. That was kind of weird.
Oh,
how did we get so far off topic?
4 more years.
Get back to Iran.
That would be me in 2020 if Joe won.
You'd vote for Joe.
4 more years.
Just for fodder for the show.
Pay for my retirement home. So back to Iran. So we talked about how the Senate passed a resolution.
The Foreign Relations Committee.
Yeah, passed a resolution to say that
19 to nothing was the vote. So it was a unanimous vote in the committee.
And there's listen, even the Democrats are mad about this right now. A lot of Democrats in Congress are very
Obama
angry.
even said with this new version that he would sign it.
Which would be,
hey, Mr. President, you don't need to sign it. It's already in the Constitution.
I'll sign this.
They can do it.
It's just utter incompetence. It's sad. Because it shows you what he focuses on.
Yeah.
And what he doesn't. And he focuses on how to use the Constitution against people.
Uh-huh.
But he certainly doesn't know how it works. You know what I mean? Like, he could cherry pick certain things and exploit that. But he doesn't have an understanding.
Right.
Contrary to what he says. He has zero understanding.
I think he understands it. He just tries to twist it to fit his agenda, which is not a new thing.
No, it's just scary either way. No matter how you slice it, it's scary. And then all of a sudden, with the Iran deal, Russia decides, hey, you know what? We want to jump in on this too. You want to help? Yeah, sort of. We're going to sell a whole bunch of air defense missiles to Iran. I'm sorry, what? Well, hear me out on this. This is Putin talking now. We all know that Iran's eventually going to get the bomb, right? Well, yeah, 17 years. Even the president said that in 17 years. Okay, so Israel's probably going to strike in about 15, right? So we'll start selling the missiles now.
15 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. We're going to start selling the missiles now, and then when Israel strikes, they're going to need more missiles. We get more money, and it'll just be cyclical for as long as time goes on. They played the pro-capitalist in this right away.
They kind of did. But another thing Russia's done here is they know, I think, that if a deal is reached, that Israel's going to strike.
Yes.
So by us agreeing to this deal and forcing, in essence, Israel to strike, we're setting them up.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
particularly if the Russians are now going to sell weapons. This is just going to make what Israel was trying to do increasingly more difficult.
Yeah.
Obviously, more Israeli lives are going to be lost.
Because these are the S-300 missiles They're much more advanced than anything Iran has.
They're more advanced than the S-299 missiles.
Leap years ahead of the S-295s. And don't get me going about the S-220s. Now.
Right. I can't believe they've had 300 versions of the missile. And did they start with A? Or is it the Russian A-1 through 999 and then B-1 and now they're at the S-300?
They're like, well, we're not good at this at all. We're just not good at missiles, apparently. We have to keep going. Well, that's how they do their planes. The MiG, the Su, Sikorsky, all that. They started with 1, so maybe. The 300th variant of that missile under the S-class, brilliant.
This missile's only been around for 6 months. Yeah, the other ones were all miserable failures.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Took us 300 times to get it right. Is this one going to work? Don't know.
It's like
never tried it. We might sell you the
Don't
S301 next.
Having a clue. That thing could go all the way to America, do absolutely nothing.
Or
Could
blow
just
yourselves up. We don't know.
literally not even ignite.
Okay, so we're going to tell you, the first time we tested it was in Crimea. There was an airplane that was flying. Anyways, it's a long story.
It
But
worked
anyways,
then
it worked-
without
it
any
worked
problem
that one
whatsoever.
time.
So,
Fuel, a vodka.
yeah, 100% vodka powered. That'd be great. You just have a whole bunch of scientists just sucking out of the nozzles on the side. But this does create such a huge rift now in that region.
Well, I want to talk about...
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Well, it's...
No, you're
We're
right.
talking so long. I want to talk about the states' reaction real quick. There are some states that are actually passing their own sanctions against Iran because they're angry, and it's close to 24 states that have done this, and they're doing this like Kansas and Mississippi already have some kind of sanctions in place. They want to add more. Any companies linked to Iran in certain sectors of the economy, they're basically saying, hey, the states can't do business with. They're taking public pension funds and divesting them from firms that have Iran-linked operations.
Good.
Absolutely. So it's interesting how you have states really seizing their power finally. I mean, the states have kind of This is kind of a trend I think we're starting to see more of. But you have these states that are really seizing some of this power and kind of doing their own things with their state funds. So it doesn't. The federal government
has nothing they can do.
You can't do this. What do you think? I was happy.
I'm very happy. I agree with you 100%. The state is sadly states feel that they have to take the role of the federal government, or at least be involved and step in where they don't think the federal government's going to.
Mm-hmm.
This whole deal is a disaster. We've talked about it ad nauseum. There's just no good can come out of this deal.
Right. You have out of Florida, there was a senator, a state senator, who said that Iran would essentially have to change their behavior dramatically, and that the state would not be guided by Obama's opinion about the Iranians.
No,
Right? We're talking about state funds, state contracts, state retirement benefits, and so they can choose what to do with their money. And it's nothing. Before I read the article, and I read that article on FoxNews.com. The name of the article was "States Slam the Brakes on Iran, Enact Tough Economic Sanctions." It's a pretty good article. I didn't realize that, and I don't know why I hadn't thought about this, but I didn't even think that the states would not have the authority to do that, but just that they would, or that they
would get involved at all.
Right, that they had investments even pending in Iran in companies tied to Iran. So, and I don't know why that didn't dawn on me. I'm a little bit disappointed myself, but it.
I am too, actually.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm a little off my game lately.
That's a demerit.
I'm a little off my game lately. No, I don't get a demerit because I brought beer.
Well, that added 2 points.
And so I'm -1, so I'm still
No,
plus
you're
1.
up 1, right. You're
okay,
good.
I'm still up 1.
We'll keep you in the game.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't at 0 because I was going to be upset since I did bring an amazing...
No. You were not at 0. No, it's good to see that the states are invested and that the states are getting involved. It brings up the talk about the Convention of States. And April 15th is a big day to talk about that, and the power the states have. And we talk about when the direct election of senators was passed, the 17th, what a horrible thing that did for states' rights. And there's been this trend for the last 30 years, at least, the recent 30 years that just passed, to really minimalize the states individually in the process of government in this country, and the importance of states' rights and the importance of states' activity. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's been pushed away completely that states answer to the federal government when they really don't. That states don't really have an interest in foreign policy when they do. And they have a power and authority to affect it. And things like the Convention of States, if required and if it happens, would once again show people that there's a reason why we're called the United States. The states make up the Union.
And the states are really the ones that are supposed to have most of the power.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that changed with direct election of senators.
Right, because it's easier to sway people to vote for one person versus a state.
Thank you, Woodrow Wilson and the progressive
Thanks, Woody.
movement.
Thanks, Woody and mayonnaise. Bernaise.
You're
looking at mayonnaise.
Great movie.
I love that movie.
Great movie.
Was a great movie.
Officer and a Gentleman.
Yep. Lou Gossett Jr.
I know, and Richard Gere.
That was his name. I went with the big star.
No,
you do a good job of pulling out the nobodies.
Okay, so Lou Gossett Jr.
Iron
Best
Eagle.
movie. Thank you. Yes, I didn't even have to finish. I didn't even have to finish it. Whatever happened to the kid in that movie?
Nothing.
He did one movie. He did that, and I think he did like Heavenly Kid, right?
Yes, he was the Heavenly Kid. That's
no
right.
props for pulling that out,
right?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love Lou Gossett. Man, he was awesome in Iron Eagle and an Officer and a Gentleman.
Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle was amazing. I think he was in Iron Eagle too.
And that was such a realistic movie.
Oh, totally realistic. Could have happened.
Wait, wasn't that a Muslim nation that they were? Never mind. It doesn't.
No,
matter.
it doesn't matter. We weren't
matter.
fighting them back then.
No, they were our friends. I forgot.
I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you. Which plane was it? The 15 or the 16?
It was a 16.
Okay, just wanted to double check.
Come on.
Well, hey,
Hey, bring your A game at least. That's a Top Gun. What was the airplane they flew?
The MiG-35B. Ken says, with that, you just pitched your way out of the seventh inning. Good job.
Thank you.
Heavenly Kid was amazing.
That was a good one,
dude,
right? Thank you.
And it was the same kid.
Yeah. We're up against a break.
Okay, so you're in close. So what you want to do now, we need to, here's the tape for him so he can talk him through it. Chappie! And then he just puts in a little Van Halen. And then
Was
you
it
knew,
Van Halen?
Then you knew it was time for an unnamed nation of Arabic descent to pay the price.
Make that movie today.
Oh, it's racist.
Yeah.
Are you looking even? You couldn't even go after just the Russians when they just did Red Dawn. They had to do the Russians and the North Koreans. You couldn't pick on one nation.
But you did in the original Red Dawn. Remember, I think you had the Cubans.
Oh, they were involved.
Yeah, you had the
but
Russians
Russia
and the
owned them
Cubans.
anyhow.
Right.
It was a little bit different.
Right. You had the Russians and the Cubans. Not the cigars.
Not the cigar. Everyone would like a cigar, though.
Yeah.
If Obama has it, they'll be selling them here in no time. Free trade. Because for whatever reason, we just keep negotiating with all these leaders of horrible countries, but can't sit down and have a drink with our number one ally when he comes over. Just will never figure it out. We're up against the break.
I already said that.
I know. I was reminding myself. What do we got when we come back?
I don't want to tell. I don't want to tease that one. It'll piss you off.
A lot, and then
it'll make you angry a lot, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and then there's another story I want to talk about after that. So if we have time,
we should have time.
We'll be back in 3 here at Sackheads Radio on the SHR Media Network.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying half of the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border and says coordination, we got to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Clint?
That was a quick break.
It's always a quick break.
I read this story, and I got angry. I don't know if I'm sure our listeners remember this. The attack in Mumbai, India, in 2008.
Yes,
November 2008. 10 terrorists infiltrated downtown Mumbai. Became I believe it was via the water. They executed a synchronized attack along certain routes of travel. Took over a Jewish community center, hotels. 3-day standoff in this event. 9 of the 10 terrorists were killed. 1 was captured. 166 people killed in this terrorist attack. Horrific attack. The alleged mastermind behind the attack was captured, was taken into custody, has been jailed in Pakistan. Zakir Lakhvi. And he was said to be the operations chief for the terror group that was blamed for the attacks. He was released from custody.
Good behavior.
On a court order pending trial. So let me reiterate. Pakistan released the alleged mastermind behind the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks that killed 166 people, pending trial. Is anybody else angry? Have you seen this? Why has this not been spread all over the media?
I don't know.
Why are people? I have not heard very much about this.
This is infuriating
at all.
And
the Indian envoy basically said our High Commissioner has registered our strong concerns with the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan at the release of a principal accused in the Mumbai terrorist attack of 2008. Obviously, India is guy is even banned from leaving Pakistan.
Well, I'm
but
sure
the guy
that-
does have to show up for his court trial. Oh,
I'm sure.
Well, he allegedly planned a massacre that ended up killing 166 people, a 3-day siege, 9 of 10 terrorists killed, locations taken over and barricaded and fortified for a standoff. But he's going to show up for court.
He's a good guy. He posted a $500 bail.
No, not even.
He wants that money back.
Not even.
We give money to Pakistan.
And this is just in December when there was that Taliban attack on the school.
Yes.
In,
yeah.
Peshawar.
Yep.
140 people killed. More than 140 people killed. A lot of.
We need to stop. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, so this article, and this is why I didn't want to tease it, because I would have been all upset going into the break. Angry is a better term. I would have been more angry.
It's really a travesty. And listen, the only hope now is that he's accidentally traveling in a car that we hit with the drone. That's pretty much accidentally, of course, accidentally,
allegedly,
or that the Indians hit with the drone. The Indians have technology; they have ability.
Right.
I can't imagine that. I just can't imagine what this is doing to an already rocky relationship over there. And countries with nukes, they don't like each other, and stuff like this does not help. 166 people slaughtered at the plan of this guy.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. It's just sad. Speaking of terror block, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Remember how we've been warning on this show specifically for a long time now about the potential for ISIS and other terrorists to penetrate our nation through our southern border? I'm pretty sure we've talked about that once or twice.
Yes, once or twice.
Maybe 15 times.
Maybe a lot more than that.
We had a story about a month ago about DHS saying they haven't been able to properly screen trains coming in from Mexico due to equipment, lack of manpower, procedure, etc.
We talked about that a couple shows ago.
Yep. We all know our border has some issues. It's not foolproof. And by not foolproof, I mean it's a wide open border.
Right. By not foolproof, that means it's not Obama-proof.
Right. We have essentially tied the hands of our INS agents on the border, or customs, whatever they're called now, and really, really kind of put them at a disadvantage. We have numerous issues that go on around the border on a regular basis. Just south of the border, about 8 miles, if you will, from El Paso, Texas, Judicial Watch, the website, is reporting that a Mexican army officer and a Mexican federal cop have come to them stating that ISIS has been training in a camp 8 miles to the south of the American border.
I'm sure they're all over it.
The area is controlled by obviously cartels. They control the entire country now. And the belief is that they're paying the cartels to not only have the space to train locally, but then be shuttled into the country via coyotes, which we just had that chase in Arizona that was like 30 miles, and the guy had been arrested and deported 20 times, so that's working out well. He said at these locations they found everything from the Quran, prayer rugs, Islamic writings, plans for Fort Bliss, the 1st Armored Division headquarters, Fort Bliss, and other materials that are concerning. Obviously, the 2 Mexican officials spoke under the condition of anonymity to protect their identity. 8 miles from the border, they said that they believe that they've been doing reconnaissance on places like universities, power plants, in New Mexico, the White Sands Missile Range, which is where we test a lot of our Raytheon and other missiles.
Ooh, maybe they could go out there while we're going to test a missile.
No, because they usually don't do warheads. Usually it's just the takeoff and all that stuff. They do warheads sometimes, though. That sort of thing. In October, Representative Duncan Hunter, who's from California, said he had sources that at least 10 ISIS fighters have been captured trying to cross the border into Texas, and that's just the ones that we've caught. The DHS says, that's totally false. That didn't happen.
Right. We don't have any bad guys trying to cross the border. Never happened.
But Hunter said that he had sources inside Border Patrol. A California state representative, he may have some information. DHS does whatever they can to make themselves not look bad. I have reason to doubt. How much does that scare you? Seriously.
It doesn't scare me any more than I already have been. Here's why. Because it's nothing that we haven't suspected all along or thought was outside. I mean, it's not shocking to me at all. So therefore, I mean, I've thought about it before, so it really doesn't scare me.
It's just a little unnerving. Listen, I know we've talked about it, and I know it's a reality, and all of that I completely understand. But when we start seeing the hard evidence, it's like knowing your friend's an alcoholic, and you understand this with me.
Right. Right.
But when you see me drunk, it's a totally different story. It's kind of like that, where it's just sobering. What a weird term to use for that. But it's true. Just really frightening news. And there's a great article that was sent to us by a listener outside of this. Do you have any more comments on that? I'm sorry, because I just got this article from a listener. I think it's worth reading.
It is. Go, please.
It's from the Young Conservatives, youngcons.com. And it's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. And it's pretty good. So if you're a Republican and you don't like guns, what do you do?
If you're a Republican and you don't like guns?
Yep, or a conservative, and you don't like guns.
You just choose personally not to have them.
Right. If you're a Democrat and you don't like guns, what do you do?
Try and take everybody else's, but you own one yourself.
You're 2 for 2. You're doing good. This is like a test.
Okay.
If you're a Republican and you're a vegetarian, what don't you do?
You don't eat meat.
If you're a Democrat and you're a vegetarian, what do you do?
You prevent everybody else from eating.
All right. Dude, you're 4 for 4. How are you nailing this?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're a Republican and you're gay, what do you do?
Have gay sex.
If you're a Republican and what you gay in your outward policy with other people.
Right. You're gay, but who cares what you do? Like, I'm not going to affect your life. It's my choice.
If it's a Democrat?
Then everybody has to be gay.
If a Republican is down and out and he thinks about how to better his situation, what does he do?
Tries to get a job, does something to better his condition or her condition.
Democrat, same position. What does he do?
Ask for money from the government.
Okay. You're good at this. Republican doesn't like a talk show. What does he do?
Doesn't listen to it.
If a Democrat doesn't like a talk show?
Shut it down.
Wow.
Am I nailing this?
Dude, you haven't been wrong yet.
The story of my life, though, right?
If a Republican is a non-believer, what doesn't he do?
Believe or go to church.
Right. If a Democrat is a non-believer, what does he do?
Tries to close down and silence the churches and tell others that they're wrong and they shouldn't worship either.
If a Republican decides, you're right. If a Republican decides he needs health care, what does he do?
Buys health care.
If a Democrat decides it?
Ask the government to give it to him.
If a Republican reads this, he'll forward it to a friend and laugh. If a Democrat reads this?
He'll think it's a bunch of garbage and delete it and talk junk about it.
Yes.
Seriously?
Essentially. The last one, which is the one you were furthest from, a Democrat would delete it because he's offended.
Well, if he was offended, then he'd file a lawsuit. Right?
I love, even in the chat room, everyone's trying to keep up. That's so awesome. Except Ag gets the last question. Ag says they'll blow up the blog about how evil Republicans are.
Right. Right.
I thought that was really good. So, anonymous listener, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you sending that over.
What, that was a listener who was a member of Anonymous?
No, just a listener who wished not to be named.
Oh, got it.
I can't believe you got every one, dude. You didn't miss one. That is so great. And your answers weren't even like in the ballpark answers.
Right.
You were nailing them dead on.
Well, know your enemy, right? I mean, it's not if you understand the difference. I don't know. Seems pretty straightforward to me.
It does seem very straightforward.
Did you see? What was it in Oregon? The sheriff who basically says he's not going to he's not going to enforce the state gun laws requiring background checks between private party sales.
Yes.
He basically say, "Yeah, we're not going to do it."
Yeah.
I don't have the resources or the funding to go after a Class B misdemeanor when I have felonies being committed in my jurisdiction. So, and I'm pretty sure our county charter doesn't allow us to do that anyways.
You know what? Sheriffs are starting to make it stand. There's a Kern County sheriff here in California who's stating that he's not going to follow the federal guidelines for dealing with illegals, and that he's going to continue to enforce the law as it is, and how it's written in the state law, et cetera, et cetera. And actually, I was reading up, and I can't remember his name right now. It just slipped out of the top of my head. He's kind of like Joe Preo in a lot of ways. Very old-fashioned, not taking any crud from anybody. And you know, it's definitely one of those things that it's good to see. It's good to see local law enforcement, sheriffs, police chiefs, whatever, standing up for what's right. And it's huge in our country to make sure that is maintained, and they don't allow the federal government to trump and traipse all over them. Other big story that got news this week.
I want to ask
go ahead.
you before you. I want to ask, and I don't know if this is it or not, but you're a New England Patriots fan.
Yes.
Aaron Hernandez sentenced to life in prison without parole, convicted of murder.
Yes.
Because there is no death penalty.
Right. So,
what are your thoughts?
He automatic life in prison.
Yep.
The way the law reads.
And isn't he pending two other murder trials or two other murder
investigations?
Charges? Okay.
It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Okay.
I believe in Massachusetts he was specifically convicted under. I just read this earlier. Hold on, let me pen through this. It's murder in the first degree. Chapter 265, subsection 1. Automatic life in prison with no possibility for parole. There's not even a sentencing that goes along. It's just automatic. He gets an automatic appeal, however. He will spend the rest of his days in MCI, Mass Correctional Institute, Cedar Junction. And he will be 23 hours in a cage, an hour out, went from $40 million to eating prisoner food.
Good.
I am so glad that the right thing was done. And the young man that was killed, Odin Lloyd was his name, 27 years old. He was a weekend warrior, as they call him, a football player, played semi-pro, landscaper by day. All accounts is that he wasn't a bad kid. He wasn't perfect. He had his little run-ins here and there, but he wasn't a bad person. He was a father. He had a pretty tight-knit family. And Aaron Hernandez, the thug, who had gang ties from when he was a kid, continued those gang ties. They now believe he was running drugs for them at one point, using his wealth to be involved in money laundering, a lot of other things. Shot this guy in a business park. They think it might have been a drug deal. They're not sure. 6 times in the chest, and then drove home with his buddies, hung out in his man cave, actually had his friends who were involved in there as well, hanging out with his infant daughter at the time. Like, all this other stuff, just cold-hearted. And you had the guy, if you saw the video from inside the house, he walked in with the gun. He had it in his hand, the murder weapon. They were able to make the connection back to Hernandez because, being the genius that he is, Odin Lloyd had his rental car keys in his pocket. So when they went through his body, after the body was found, they found the rental car keys, contacted the rental car company and said, hey, it's rented to Aaron Hernandez, and they went from there. The defense tried to say it was all circumstantial, and but he was done from the beginning. If you listen to any of the evidence, he was done from the beginning. So I talked about this a little bit earlier today, but it's frightening that people who come from a rough upbringing, and the guy had a rough
chance,
who had a chance.
Yep.
And we hear that all the time from the left. Kids just need a chance, and we got to help them get that chance. And we got to get.
He had it.
He had it. $40 million chance.
Bowler.
He was a Pro Bowler. He was an All-American. $40 million chance, and he still chose to live the gang life and the thug life.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how much money you give from somebody and take to somebody else. And our friend Big Fat Paulie says this all the time. If you turn around and you take a house from the ghetto and put it in the nice neighborhood, and vice versa, it doesn't make one or the other. It doesn't increase the value of the ghetto house for a reason.
Right.
The neighborhoods need to change. The people need to change.
Yes.
They need to understand that it's choices in life you make that affect your situation. Look at Aaron Hernandez. It's not opportunities you didn't get. It's opportunities you either didn't make for yourself or you didn't take advantage of. And it's not the fault of everybody else. You look at, I talked about this today, how criminal the NFL is right now and how much criminality is involved in the NFL.
Yes.
It's almost encouraged. And it's not until something happens like Ray Rice that all of a sudden the NFL is like, whoa, we can't have this. Well, it's been going on for years. How about this? Don't draft people with criminal backgrounds. If somebody like Plexico Burress shoots himself in the leg with a gun illegally in a nightclub that could have killed other people, he stops playing. Have it in their contract that if you're convicted of a violent crime or a felony, you lose all the money you made. It goes away. You don't get to play in the NFL anymore. Be serious, because you know what? These kids are going through high school and college with dreams of playing in the NFL, not worried about what they could lose, because you know what? They know that odds are if I make a horrible mistake or make a bad decision, they're going to clean it up for me. And they do. Look at Johnny Manziel. The kid never should have made it through college.
Right.
He should have been kicked out of college 3 or 4 different times.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they protected him because they wanted him in the end. The NFL wanted him, so the NFL protected him at a collegiate level. He gets in, and where is he now? Rehab, or he's out now. He's a train wreck. It's a culture that's being encouraged.
Yep.
And instead of the college level football players being encouraged to get their degree and play college, it's play football. It's play football, and we'll give you a degree. And that's the sad part. And now families are ruined. And not just, Aaron Hernandez deserves a life in prison, but he has a young kid. He has a family. Odin Lloyd certainly has a family that gets affected by this. It's a horrible situation, and it was allowed by the NFL because this sort of activity is not shunned and just not treated how it should be. People like Aaron Hernandez think they can do this and get away with it. And it continues. And it's not just the NFL. Yes, there are other problems in other leagues and other sports, but not like the NFL. The NBA, honestly, the most you hear out of the NBA is the guys get caught drinking and driving. You don't hear a lot of, there's some couple once in a while. Allen Iverson was bad, but you don't hear a lot anymore. The NBA cracked down on a lot of the shenanigans. Baseball's been tight for a long time. They don't allow it. Same thing with hockey. So if the NFL wants to save face and wants to be role models for young people to want to excel and play at that level and be good people when they get there, they need to dramatically change the way that they do discipline in that league.
And I hope they do. I don't know if they will, though.
It's money.
It's money. Those stars, regardless of their personal conduct off the field, bring in money. People paid to see Aaron Hernandez play because he was a Pro Bowler. He was an excellent football player.
Yeah. He was an amazing football player.
And so they could turn their back
and just not care because it was and he was going to get in the league one way or the other. It didn't matter who he played for. He happened to be drafted by the Patriots.
Right.
But the league wanted him. And he was a guy they knew when he was being scouted that had issues. And like NFL Ag said in the chat, there's a show about NFL scouts, and they actually say, oh, we consider guys who've had, quote-unquote, issues off the field. Well, why?
Why?
There are other players out there.
Exactly.
There are other people who've done nothing wrong. And Mary brought this up earlier today, but guys like Tim Tebow are the ones that the media focuses on and shuns.
Yep, absolutely.
Because he's spiritual.
Yep.
And he has a relationship with God. If you don't think that something is just totally twisted with that, it's sad to me. It really is sad.
Well, that's a great way to end the show.
Wah, wah. Sorry. You brought it up.
I know, but you didn't have to go all sad, right? Like you could have spun it into a positive. Could have done something good.
There's an opening for a tight end on the New England Patriots. Actually, there's not. We got Gronkowski. We're good. Hey, tomorrow, Jason Miller's been covering all the UK elections and debates, and it does affect us at home, and we think it's kind of a cool thing. So at 2 p.m. On the East Coast, 11 a.m. on the West Coast, the debate coverage will start, and it'll the actual debate start at 3 p.m., and we'll be carrying that. And I think Jason will carry that right through the afternoon. So if you want to check that out tomorrow. If you've never watched British politics, I will watch the House of Commons because it's kind of like this show. There's business being done, but there's a whole lot of insulting going on. Oh, yeah. It's a blast, actually. It's a lot of fun. So if you've never experienced a British election, it's definitely a great way to check it out. So check it out here on the SHR Media Network tomorrow starting at 11 Pacific and 2 on the East Coast.
Oh, wow. My friend?
Yes, my friend. It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure once again. Always a pleasure.
Goes by too quick. 2 hours too quick.
2 and 2?
2 and 2.
We can't say 2 and 2. That was from another show. Love Connection. Chuck Woolery back in 2 and 2.
Good conservative, by the way. Chuck's a serious conservative. A lot of people don't know that, but I follow him on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
He's a huge conservative.
Is he really?
Yes. Him and Pat Sajak.
Pat Sajak, I think I knew.
So it's always funny what you find out about people on Twitter. Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, big conservative.
Really?
Yes. You find out more and more as time goes on. It's kind of fun. Kind of fun. Check us out next Wednesday night here, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast on the SHR Media Network. Make sure you check out my show tomorrow morning, The Edge of Liberty, at 12 in the East, 9 in the West, WNJC, 1360 AM in Philadelphia. In the afternoon, you have the British elections, followed by the Evan Miller Report and the exceptional one himself, Ken McClinton, starting at 6 in the West, 8 in the East. Check out all the great shows, shrmedia.com. If you miss any of them, you can get them on Spreaker. We will see you next week. I'm Sackhead Sean.
I'm Sackhead Clint.
And in the corner is Sacco, and properly in his cage. Play us out, buddy.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. But for those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.